feels like no matter how bad the Jets are, no matter what year it is, the New York Jets just always find a way to bring out the worst in the Denver Broncos. Last year was the year that Knicks only threw for 60 or some odd yards in an absolute monsoon of a game. And this year, just same story. Broncos offense can't get anything going, but hey, none of it matters as much when you manage to capture a W. Welcome back to Crushing It, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Miles Smith, and my God, after Game 5 of the ALCS, I was not ready to come into a pulse-pounding Broncos game against the 0-5 New York Jets. Now, 0-6, but alas, they do it to me every time. This sports weekend alone, I have probably lost a good 17,000 years off my life. I've actually been dead for a long time now. No, but all jokes aside, it was just an ugly game for the Broncos. We're going to go over what's going wrong with the offense and what's going right for the defense. We are going to talk about, of course, the new tradition on the channel, the game orange sodas, and I might even note somebody that we're going to send back to the U.S. on their feet. And then we'll get into some closing remarks to close this thing out. But once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Roll the intro. Apologies for my voice, it's a little shot this weekend. I was doing some charity stuff with my little brother at kind of one of our local attractions that we do every year around Halloween, so that's why I sound like I've smoked 5 packs of cigarettes every day for the past 92 years. And yeah, I also had to call a game this morning, which if you're seeing this and you were part of the stream, thank you for making that what it was. I hope you choose to subscribe and to like this video because it's going to be great. The Denver Broncos managed to slip out of London with a 13-11 victory. There's stuff to go over on both sides of the ball. One side's going to be mostly negative. The other side is going to be overwhelmingly positive. And the third side is going to be, we'll get to it, but it's just kind of like a, WTF moment. I don't think Rizzy is the guy after this season at special teams. I'll throw that out right now. But first things first, I want to talk about this offense because it was not a pretty game by any stretch of the imagination. Now we're going to start with a pro. Despite everything, I think Bo Nix played a fine game. Didn't turn the ball over at all. He was amazing when he was in rhythm during that first quarter and we're going to get into this a little bit, but when the play calling wasn't absolutely diabolical. All right, we'll get to that, but Bo Nix, I think himself played a decent game. Didn't try and force really any passes that I saw. Nix looked fine. But my God, it just was not a good game offensively. Nix goes 19-30 for 174 yards with a touchdown, and it's the rushing attack that you really need to get into here to figure out why this game was as goddamn close as it was. You had 8 players with at least 1 rushing attempt. J.K. Dobbins, of course, taking the majority of those. 14 carries, 40 yards, 2.9 yards per carry, and boy, I wonder how much of that has to do with Matt Peart. Anyways, Bo Nix, almost the team's leading rusher. He was the leading rusher for a good chunk of this game. 5 for 24. Had some nice scrambles with his legs. Like I said, Nix played a fine game today, despite the lack of support all around. Evan Ingram, 1 for 7. Ingram got a carry today, which was such a weird play, but it worked. It absolutely worked. And I did like what I saw from Evan Ingram. We'll get into that here in a minute. RJ Harvey goes 2 for 4 on the ground, didn't have a whole lot. Adam Prentice gets a random 3-yard carry on a 3rd and 8 for some reason. That was a play that happened. Franklin had a 2-yard carry. Jaleel McLaughlin got a carry. Haven't said that guy's name in forever. And then Marvin Mims had a 2-yard loss with his 1 carry. Broncos running attack just did not have it today, and I don't know if that's partially because Matt Peart was a complete liability for the Broncos or what was going on there, and that's besides the fact that he was in fact a liability for the Broncos. I'll touch on that here in just a few minutes because he had 2 huge drive-killing penalties that were it. This game likely looks so much better because of it. He wiped a big Bo Nix pass off of the board that probably puts the guy over 200 if it doesn't get him close. Now it probably puts him over 200. And it's just a weird game for the Broncos. And Matt Pear in particular, I think, needs to be either plucked or put on a very short leash. Meanwhile, in the receiving game, Evan Ingram's your leading receiver for the Denver Broncos. First time we've said that all year. 5 catches, 42 yards, had a couple of nice snags that were encouraging to see. So coming off of that Philly game, Evan Ingram starting to get a little bit of rapport with Bo Nix finally, and I think we are going to start seeing dividends with that in the future, because my God, if the Broncos can get Evan Ingram to click, Bo Nix finally has his easy button, or maybe a second easy button not named Courtland Sutton. At this point, Mims had 2 catches for 30 yards. Adkins had that nicely schemed up touchdown grab. He goes 2 of 23. Love seeing the fullback / tight end get involved. Pat Bryant had a couple of nice grabs for 22 yards. Harvey gets 4 for 21. Franklin had 3 for 19. Sutton only had 1 catch today, which was odd. It really didn't feel like Courtland Sutton was being targeted at all. And a lot of that is likely just Sauce was kind of blanketing him. Either way, Sutton wasn't really there, and then a couple of the running backs had targets, no catches. It's just a rough game overall from the Denver Broncos offense. They did just enough. That last drive, they were able to go down. Well, not last drive, but last drive. They were able to go down, get a score. Will Lutz was able to put them on top of the Jets just barely, and I mean, from there it was just anxiety city. But of course, the Broncos able to hang on, and definitely in no small part to Will Lutz, who accounts for 7 of the team's total points. And on a day like this, it's perfect that Will Lutz was perfect, man. It was the day that the Broncos needed, and one of those field goals was from 57 yards out. So huge props to Will Clutch Lutz for being able to nail that and the rest of his kicks to keep the Broncos on top. And they are 4-2 for the first time in a while, everybody. I think if they win against the Giants, it'll be 5-2 for the first time since 2016. Let me know who the quarterback of that team was in the comments below. I'm interested to see who knows their Broncos history. And don't look it up on Google. You're not allowed to Google it. You're not allowed to leave the video. You're not. My issues with the Broncos offense today really boil down to the play calling, because it got to a point after that first quarter that it felt like Sean Payton just did not know what the hell he was calling. So many of these just exotic little sweep plays, these exotic little jet sweeps, screens, it just was not working. And I understand that it's a game where the run game's not working particularly well, but at some point you can't keep digging in the bag and keep coming up with piles of shit and think you're gonna find a cherry soda in there or something. I mean, when something starts working, you gotta lean on it. And after that first quarter, Sean Payton should have just let Bo Nix keep ripping it, because Bo Nix was picking that Jets defense apart. During those 2 scoring drives, Bo Nix had over 100 passing yards in the first quarter. Over 100 passing yards in the first quarter. Bo Nix looked like he was on his way to having his true breakout game there for a second, and then suddenly just the wheels came off of the offense. Sean Payton started calling some absolute ass, and I'm definitely starting to kind of join the camp of maybe Davis Webb needs to take over play calling. I don't know. The Broncos are doing enough to win right now, but even against the Giants, is this kind of a game, is this kind of a called game going to be enough to take out the Giants, who are riding a little bit of a hot streak right now, coming off of beating the Eagles just like you were in this game, Denver? And listen, I get that you've got a defense to bail you out, but something's got to get fixed with the play calling, because these flashes are getting irritating. But to see Payton get something working and then completely abandoning it is getting really infuriating. We've seen it with run games at times with Sean Payton running the Broncos just in general at this point. And, there was a half-ass commitment to the run game with all of the screens and sweeps, but they're just plays that weren't working at all. You would have been better going 2 to 3 yards in a cloud of dust and then maybe letting Nix try and settle back in. But after that this is a game that the Broncos should have aired the ball out more than they did, because Bo Nix was in a rhythm. Like I said, he was picking apart that Jets defense, and I really don't think his final numbers reflect how much better he played than what actually happened. Another thing that really did hurt Knicks' numbers was Matt Parrott. Matt Parrott starting at left guard after Ben Powers goes on injured reserve. Man, we were saying his name a lot. 3 total penalties, a false start, and 2 holding calls. One of them killed a massive 22-yard play to Troy Franklin. And it's kind of like I was saying, you know, Matt Parrott hasn't really had any meaningful snaps this year, whereas Alex Palczewski has been playing that extra offensive lineman. So it baffles me that the Broncos decided to put Parrott in instead of Palczewski when Palczewski has been getting those live snaps all year. And I think Palczewski fits better as a player in Sean Payton's scheme, especially at guard, where you've kind of got a little bit of flexibility with the play design. You can have the guy pull, what have you. I think Palczewski was the better fit there. I was shocked to hear that Matt Parrott was the guy that was going to end up starting for them there. Denver can do a number of different things here. You've still got Palczewski, you've still got Forsyth, and you could even maybe throw Thorkmotten in there, I think is how you pronounce that. Either way, I don't know if Matt Parrott's going to be your answer at left guard. I don't know if they let him go against the Giants and just keep him on a short leash, or if Sean Payton has already seen enough. I just don't think Matt Parrott's going to be the answer for the next 2 months, and if the Broncos' run game is going to look like this against the New York Jets of all goddamn teams, I don't know what else to make of that. Offense, I am going to give a D+. I think they had their moments in this game. They did just enough. But, I mean, a lot of guys let Knicks down today. Like, I don't want to hear the Knicks hate today that much. I really don't. He dirted balls when he needed to. Actually made sure they were in the area of the receiver. There was the one to Adam. Ironically, it's, well, maybe not even ironically, like coincidentally, it's always Adam Troutman that's the area, or that's the receiver in the area when Knicks dirts a ball. So, what have you. Maybe Troutman's just got this magical incompletion aura that turns everyone into a non-grounding. But jokes aside, offense was getting a D+. Couldn't run the ball. Matt Parrott happened. Play calling kind of let Knicks down today a little bit. Now, moving on to the next section of Crushing It, we are going to talk about this defense and how ungodly they are. This defense is so good, and we will get into that in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's keep going. I did forget to note a couple of things that are going to be really important to contextualize what went on with this defense, because the Broncos' other 2 units of the ball, special teams and offense, let the defense down at numerous points and left them in awful positions. Broncos on that very first possession, the Troy Franklin fumble, just absolutely abhorrent. Can't put the ball on the ground like that. Defense didn't budge, didn't let the Jets really get any further than whatever field goal they kicked, and the special teams as well, allowing a massive return to once again put the defense in a bad spot. They get a field goal out of it. The defense was let down today. All I'm saying is that the defense should be getting back massages on the way home because of how much heavy lifting they did, and heavy lift did this defense do. I hope you like sacks, and I don't care what kind, because the Broncos got 9 of them. Talanoa Hufanga gets 1. Brandon Jones combines with Justin Stranad for a combined 2 sacks on that. Stranad had 1.5, and then Jones had the other half of it. Nick Benito with a full sack. Wazarike gets a sack, and it wasn't handed to him with an out-of-bounds play this time. Let's go. Jonathan Cooper, absolute stud. 2-sack game. Count them. 1, 2. 2-sack ball game for the boy Jonathan Cooper. Like I said, Stranad had the 1.5, and then Franklin Myers and Zach Allen both getting involved as well. Both of them had a full sack, so hardly anybody under a full sack, and even then, I mean, the half sack obviously was a very impactful play with Stranad in tow, or more with Brandon Jones in tow to Justin Stranad. On that, what a game by this Broncos defense, man, and considering all of the circumstances, it is kind of a miracle that they only allowed 11, or not even 11. The defense only allowed 9 points today. This is a game the Broncos should have won by 4, if not for that stupid holding penalty safety by Garrett Bowles. because my God, this defense played their ass off, and if the offense found a way to squander this, or if the special teams found a way to squander this, man, we would be rioting on this video right now. Obviously not live, but I would be rioting. I might be rioting by the time I'm done recording this. We'll see. Great performances all around by the Denver Broncos. The secondary was absolutely lights out, and that is made even more. It's just emphasized by how bad the Jets were. I mean, negative 10 passing yards on the entire day, 82 total yards of offense with the 92 rushing yards. Jets could not do shit all damn day. Justin Fields, 9 of 17, 45 yards is the kind of game that gets you benched. And the Broncos defense is historically good at getting bad teams' quarterbacks benched. They're the reason Ryan Tannehill came in and saved the Titans for a good little bit, so you're welcome, Tennessee. The Denver Broncos did that for you. Breece Hall goes 22 of 59, only averages 2.7 a carry. Fields had a decent rushing day, so he can tag that under his belt, but 7 of 31 there, and then Isaiah Davis basically did nothing. I think the Jets really like Denver Broncos sloppy seconds because Josh Reynolds and Andrew Beck were two of the top 3 leading receivers for the New York Jets. Not a massive feat, I know, but Reynolds goes 3 of 25, Beck goes 1 for 6, and then in between them in second place is Garrett Wilson, and this shows you what the Broncos defense does to people, because of that end of half sequence, walking back to the locker room, I tell you what, Garrett Wilson was bitching Aaron Glenn out. My goodness, man, it's what the Broncos defense does to people. Mason Taylor had a catch for 2 yards. What else do you want? Isaiah Davis, 1 for -1. Do I need to mention that? It happened. It existed. It's on paper. The Broncos defense went absolutely God mode today. Like I said, 9 sacks, negative passing yards by the entire Jets offense. They held the Jets to 2 of 15 on third down. Absolutely incredible by the Denver Broncos. And the fourth down the Jets converted was Darren Rizzi's fault. That was a fake punt on special teams. Granted, it was a 4th and 1. It's a lot easier to convert that. Just a weird game all around. Weird game, but the defense was able to basically play the New York Jets and their own team and come out on top. And man, they are the reason that the Denver Broncos are escaping London instead of sulking in defeat. My goodness. What a game by the defense. Coming up next, I am going to give out my game orange sodas, and I'm going to spoil it a little bit. The entire Broncos defense gets one on top of some of the players that are going to get one. Stay tuned for that, and I will be right back. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, all right, enough plugging. Next section. I know that was a lot to process, so we'll do a quick little recap real quick, and then we'll get into these game orange sodas. I thought Bo Nix played fine. Wasn't the best, but definitely could have been better. Penalties took away a lot of some of the good things that he did. I still think the Broncos are a little out of rhythm offensively, and I think Sean Payton just needs to loosen up a little bit. I think he needs to let the boys go out there and play backyard football just a little more than he likes to, obviously. I think Sean Payton needs to really adjust his play calling because so much in the second half did not work. And we saw what was working in the first half, and that was Nix. That was Nix in rhythm. Nix killed it in that first half. Definitely that first quarter a little more than anything, and then fell off in the second half once kind of the play calling started falling apart. Some of it is on Bo. Obviously, can't miss as many receivers as he does. It is what it is there. Bo has to be better, obviously, but Sean Payton's also got to help him a little bit. He is still only a year 2 quarterback. Like, you've got to think about that in Sean Payton's system. Breeze had a lot more experience going into Sean Payton's offense. It's just something to think about. Defense played lights out. Obviously, the defense was perfect as it needed to be to actually come out and win this game. And then the special teams was god-awful, and the special teams was bad. Broncos win 13-11 still somehow. All right, game orange sodas. The Broncos defense is getting one of its own. I spoiled that one already, obviously, but for obvious reasons. Didn't give up. I think it was 8 first downs that they gave up, and that was it. 2 for 15 on third down. Should have had a turnover forced, so, what have you there. Secondary was lights out. Great game all around. Getting his own game orange soda is going to be Jonathan Cooper. 2 sacks on the day, and they came in some of the biggest moments of the game. My God. Jonathan Cooper played an absolute lights out game. My God. Couple of honorable mentions. I'm going to give an honorable shout out to Pat Surtain. Didn't call his name, and he basically blanked the, I want to say, leading receiver in the NFL right now in Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson was nowhere to be found in this game, and it was glorious kind of seeing him melt down on Aaron Glenn. So that's definitely an honorable mention there. He just didn't do anything spectacular. He was Pat Surtain. He was Pat Surtain. Another honorable mention is going to be basically every other Broncos defender that got a sack today. Jesus Christ, that's a lot. And then really at like my final one, I get, maybe not the final one, maybe I give one more out. Maybe I give one to Evan Ingram, just like a kind of pity one, just because he's finally doing something in the offense, and it's good to see. Honorable mention to Nate Adkins for catching the 1 touchdown is what it is. And then our last one is going to go to Will Lutz. 2 for 2 on his field goal attempts, nailed one from 57 yards, and that ended up being the difference. Those 57 yards of that ball in the air. Absolute glorious kick. My glorious king, Will Lutz, is so good. I love Will Lutz, man. I love him. We bash on him sometimes, but I definitely love the guy. So that is going to be this episode of Crushing It, everybody. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know who you would have given a game orange soda to. And go Broncos. Like and... you got to plug at the end of the video. Like and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. Trying to get to 200 subscribers before the NFL season ends. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Go Broncos. And I'm out.